Our next speaker is Professor Angela Carmella of Seton Hall University School of Law.
Thank you, Justin. I'm going to shift gears to a different idea, commemorating those who've died. In our times of national grief, there's so much to mourn. The commemoration of lives lost to COVID and to racial injustice has already begun. Communities have created spontaneous memorials, like yards filled with thousands of flags. They've created street art, painted murals. They've projected photos onto sides of buildings. We will continue to honor the dead in more permanent ways with services and monuments, often in partnership with government at all levels. My question today is, how will the Establishment Clause shape this expression of civic sorrow, if at all? Now, we can show our collective grief using religious or non-religious language and symbols. And regardless of the choice, honoring the dead is a sacred civic activity. The September 11th prayer service at Yankee Stadium was religious, but the Vietnam Memorial is not. And yet it is a holy site, even without the markings of faith. The line between religious and non-religious is often indeterminate, especially when it involves remembrance. Now, as to the Establishment Clause, the court's interpretation is now more relaxed than ever. It accepts religious language and images in government spaces. Even intensely religious words and symbols can carry civic meaning. They are particular means to universal ends, says the court. But is this just the court preserving history and tradition, elevating majoritarian faiths? Is this simply another way to exclude disfavored, underrepresented groups? The court itself says no. It insists that inclusivity and non-discrimination are necessary values. Now, in normal times, I would be apprehensive. Mixing government and religion can degrade both. But these are not normal times. A relaxed establishment jurisprudence may be a good thing, especially given the massive tragedy at hand and the indeterminacy of the line between religious and non-religious. We have before us the necessary cultural task of memorializing national sorrow and the task of crafting images for national atonement and reconciliation. The grieving families and anguished protesters are creating sacred symbols of their own. All communities, especially underrepresented ones, need the freedom to express themselves in many different voices.